Hello, everyone. Happy Friday and Happy New Year, even though it's a couple of days away. Happy New Year to all of you, ladies and gentlemen. Good to see you all here. I hope that you had a good week. Let's see, who do we have in the house? I actually have a lot to show you today, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my goodness, I went and checked the mail today. Well, wait till we get to it. I have a whole bunch of stuff to show you that I got in the mail from mostly you all. Janice Holloway, how you doing? Copernicus, hello, good to see you. Stephen Davis, how you doing from Massachusetts? Amy Walter, how are you? Zach is here. Lori, how are you? Savage Lee, Jan, how are you doing? Good to see you. Storm Rider is here. Barrent Folly, how you doing? Lisa Foster, how are you? Fran Moyer, Janice, Christina, Winter Homestead, how are you? Good to see you here today. Eric, how are you? Gordon, who else is here? Dragonfly Dreams is in the house. TT, that's all I'm going to say. I'm not sure how to pronounce the rest of that. Scott Hummer, how are you doing? Good to see you. Prepping Troll. Let me see. Who else do we have in the house? Janet Nice. John is here from McBean Scottish Fitness. Good to see you, John. Happy New Year to all of you. Sheila Andrews, Paul T, how are you? All the way from the UK. Happy New Year to you, Paul. Panhandle of the Road Ranch. Good evening to you. Tonette is in the house. Tonette, I got your card in the mail. Thank you. When I saw your name on it, I was like, oh, this is from Tonette and her hubby. Say hello to the hubby, by the way. Thank you both. Heather Welch, A Hobbit, Ultra Mega Prepper, how you doing? Never look back. Girl for Freedom, how are you? Linda Bop is in the house. Eric, how you doing? Mike Patino, Forrest, Joy Ray, Betty Randall is here. The Food Preservation Channel, how are you? All right, I'm going to get this one without messing it up today, okay? Colorado Pack Rat Prepper, how are you doing? Good to see you. DL, how are you? Ed Case, Latin American Preparedness, I like it. Funky Prepper is in the house. What's up, brother? How you doing, man? Good to see you over here. How's everything going over there across the pond? Kay Paul, she said, Danny French. Sorry if I lick my lips too much because I have chapped lips. Just a second. Let me put some of this on. That way you don't see me licking my lips the whole time. All right. Patrina, how you doing? Niece's World, hello, all the way from Arkansas. It's warming up over there. That's good. Jen Howe. We're going to have a warming event coming up. I've been watching the news showing that we're going to have a really big warming event coming up, but it's also going to meet up with some cold air. So I believe that around the middle of the country, there's going to be a lot of snow. So we'll just have to see. Hopefully everyone learned some lessons either in the first person or by watching what happened, here last week with all of the snow and wind and cold that happened, and make sure that they're prepared this time around. Because I do believe that the body count of the deceased from that last storm, I think it's above 50, which is a heck of a shame, to tell you the truth. Jen Howe, Ice One, CJ Black, how you doing? Jennifer, Ben Garcia, how you doing, Ben? Boone 22, how are you? Oh man, Siux Wilson, how are you? From the UK, welcome. Busted Beak, Aaliyah, Nelson's Original Art and Design, how are you doing? Hello, Colleen, Sunset Gazing, Jackie, Savage Lee is here, Kathleen, Life is Good, Judith's Garden, Larry Young, Janet Nice, Tammy Brennan, Sven Holgram, how are you doing, Sven? Good to see you. Che Cole, KJ, Brian Wright, Jane Stevens, Colleen, Mickey Miller, John Hellman, Joko John, Melody Scammon, how are you doing? Good to see you all the way from Southern Maine. Firearms Instructor 60, welcome. John Jimenez in the house. Good to see you, John. Welcome. The Fight for Truth, Vini Queen Solo, Jennifer Whitty, Lisa Foster, Happy New Year. Thank you. Rita Blevins, Jenny's Love, hello. Lori Unique, welcome, Lori. Good to have you. Irene Balon. Sharon, how you doing, Sharon? Good to see you. Crazy Prepper Linda's here. Dawn Pearson, Eric T is in the house. How you doing, Eric? Say hello to the kiddos. KT, RG75, Joy Ann, Gen X Prepper is here, MG in the D. Happy New Year to you as well. Let's see, Slim is here, Lisa, Akita Love. Hello, Akita Love, good to see you. NC is here, Raptor Ranch. Hello, Happy New Year. Mary Jane, Mimi is here. Good evening to you, Mimi. All day, every day preparedness. How you doing, my friend? Good to see you, Matt. Happy New Year to you and your family, as well as everyone else, ladies and gentlemen. Lori Peer, Chelsea Hutchinson, how are you? Good to see you, Chelsea. Say hello to the little baby. Mary Nigri, how are you? Happy New Year's. Let me bring it down because I do have some stuff to show you. All right. Deanie French, how you doing? Scarlett. Jeff Riffle is in the house. 312 chick. Man, so many of you here. I have to say hello. Let's see. We're at 6 minutes already. Margaret Melendez, San Antonio. Happy New Year to you as well. Luke B. JT is in the house. Hello, JT. ABC Patriot, how you doing? Blessings to you as well, Southern Mimi. Thank you very much for that. And yes, hello to all of our moderators. Good to see you all. I don't think I've seen your prepper yet, but I do see Crazy Backyard Chicken Man, and I also see Mrs. Ann Palmer all the way from the great state of Louisiana as well. SR is here from Kansas. How you doing and welcome. Terry, Deborah, Dean, James Tyler is here. Happy New Year to all of you, ladies and gentlemen. Good to see you all here today. Let me see. Village Homestead is here. How you doing? Dreams Acres, how are you? Good to see you. Catherine, how are you? Let's see. Thank you very much, TT. Okay. I'm not sure. T. Tarpnello. Thank you very much. Hey, Happy New Year. Thank you for that. Thank you. Me Too is here. How you doing, Me Too? Renegade Black Sheep. Let's see. Chad is here. Let's see. The Red Maple Grove. Oh, and ladies and gentlemen, Funky Prepper. Funky Prepper is a YouTuber, and he's out of the UK. And he's usually covering, things that are going on at that time. So if you want to check out and see what's going on across the pond, go ahead and check on in with him. And his live streams are really good too. Or at least I enjoy them, all right? I'm not like a person that rates live streams. I do mostly lurking. I don't comment very much. Tona says it was almost 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Wow. Today it's nice and warm outside, actually. Look at this. This is something to get excited about. 8 degrees above zero. Man, I'll tell you what, that's really warm. And the forecast doesn't really show it getting that much colder. I think going into next week, we might hit the negative degrees, but like in single digits. So it's not bad at all. Very mild winter so far. T. Ott, how are you doing? Linda, hello, all the way from Oklahoma. Welcome. Pauline, how are you? Trump Be Cool, how you doing? Homesick Gypsy Prepper is in the house. How you doing? Janice. Let's see. Jeanne Strader. Jeannie Strader, how you doing? Margie. Prepper 007. Mary Max. Never Look Back is in the house. Caribbean House is in the house, ladies and gentlemen. How are you doing, Caribbean House? Good to see you. Happy New Year to you as well, and many blessings as well. Thank you for that. Fluffy Otter is here. Jack. Big Bad John is in the house. Cutting Tool Designer is here. Let's see. Cutting Tool Designer says, hey, AP, I see you dropping the econ right here from time to time. Oh, well, welcome, man. Welcome, Cutting Tool Designer. Yeah, I love the Economic Ninja. He's a really, really good guy. And I've talked to him on the phone. Man, him and Financial Prepper, those are two in the same. Those guys are really good guys. I really like the Financial Prepper's YouTube channel as well. Those are some of my go-tos every day. But I don't know how the Economic Ninja does it. That guy puts out, like, sometimes when I put out like 2 or 3 videos a day, I'm like, man, I can't believe I put out this many videos today. He puts them out every day, 2, 3, 4, sometimes 5. But good for him. Hey, there she is. Yarn Prepper's in the house. Hello, Yarn Prepper. Happy New Year. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, I've got a couple of things to show you. First, I'm going to show you some pictures of Michael during our Christmas get-together. And then I want to show you all of the cards and some of the gifts that I got for Christmas. I think I've got one in here that I got from here that I asked for, and then the rest from you all. But I want to show that to you so that I can share that with you because you are my extended family. And I do mean that, by the way. Let's see. How you doing, Tigger69? Good to see you from Savannah, Georgia. Yes, Lori. Lori, make sure that you send me an email after the first of the year and then send me a couple of dates that'll work for you and times. I think I already told you what days don't work for me. But hello, New Florida Prepper One. Good to see you. Happy New Year to you as well. Let's see. Okay, let's see here. Sven Holgram asked, do you have any information on hooking up a 240-volt well pump to a generator? I have only seen a few expensive solutions. Can you use two? Sven, I'm not going to tell you what you should do, but I will tell you what I would do. I would probably try what you just recommended, but I don't recommend it, if you know what I mean. All right. Because electricity is really, when you're dealing with electricity, is the way I see electricity whenever I'm working on it is I look at it as like extension cords and numbers, right? That's how I see electricity. So whenever I'm wiring something or trying to get electricity from here to there, I just see it as an extension cord. When you really think about it, all of those wires that are going through your house that are connected to your breaker box, that's really, if you want to think about it, an extension cord that has one end connected to your breaker box, and then the other end is connected to an outlet that you can plug in and out of, right, to get power. So if you have twice the amount of voltage from two different lines, you're still going to get that 240, but that's something that you'll have to do a little bit of research on your own. But were it an emergency where I needed to get to that water and all I had was 120, I probably wouldn't mind doing that. I would probably try it, at least to see if it works. I've never done it, but the mathematics pretty much tells me that it would work, because 2 + 2 is 4 still. I think it's still 4, ladies and gentlemen. Josephine there, how you doing? Amazing Grandma, good to see you. Welcome. Let's see. SR says, recently found out store brand dozen eggs went from $2.89 to $3.89, and an 18 count went from $3.39 to $5.79. Wow, that's not good, but man, I've seen a lot worse prices. Who was it? My brother was telling me from Ohio. I think I shared that with you already. He said that he used to buy a dozen eggs for like 89 cents, just the regular factory eggs, the white ones that are pretty much mass produced, I guess you can say in a way. But they were 89 cents and they went up to $4.89, I think. So they went up by $4. But I've seen worse figures than that as well. I believe it was Hawkeye that sent me a picture showing me that their eggs on sale for just regular eggs, a dozen was $7.69. Let's see. Yesenia, how are you, Yesenia? Good to see you. Let's see the volcano video you did. Oh, yeah. Go watch that video, ladies and gentlemen. I've been bringing up a lot of things this last week on videos. Like, hey, listen, for example, the financial system. If you hear this happen, you have to go prep. That was one thing. I was talking about crime. Hey, you need to prep for self-defense. And here today, I was talking about volcanoes going off. And I pretty much laid it out to you. Hey, if you ever hear this, if you ever hear the number 7 or above associated with a volcano, you need to really research it right away. You need to figure out what's going on right away, because there may be a limited window of time in which you can prep if you hear those words. And believe me, the mainstream media, or the legacy media, as they like to be called now, they're not going to tell you what's really going on. They'll be like, oh, yeah, this happened, and that's it. But they're not going to tell you how severe it may or may not be, especially maybe. Sunday, Happy New Year to you as well. Village Homestead, I hope everything is all right. I didn't see any of your other posts, but I hope if everything's not all right, I, send you my blessings and hope that everything gets better. JB Tack, how are you doing? Oh my goodness, 18 eggs in Connecticut, $8.99. There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, what you have to realize is that inflation will never go away. Inflation, as long as we are in the same monetary system that we are in now, it will never ever go away. The only thing it can do is go up or down, but it will never go away. And the rate of inflation always fluctuates, right? However, the price, the ceiling is not going to go down. So, for example, and I'm talking on average, there's going to be some things that are affected as far as the price because of supply and demand, which really doesn't fall in too much with inflation. You can make an argument that it does, but it doesn't fall in as much with inflation as with everything going up, but at different rates. That's inflation, when everything is going up, but at different rates. But the ceiling or the floor, yes, the floor. So pretty much the prices that we've set, it doesn't mean that if inflation starts going down a little bit, it doesn't mean that the prices necessarily go back down to where they used to be before inflation started. All right. So inflation will never go away. The prices that you see now at the store, we may have a little bit of respite from them, meaning they may go down a little bit, right? Because maybe there's more supply in the system. However, the floor has already been set. So get used to paying these prices or more going forward, and inflation will never ever go away unless we get into a new system where there is sound money or currency that is backed up by actual natural resources, i.e. commodities, and or, like I said, sound money like gold and silver. Tech-Tarded Prepper, how you doing? Good to see you. All right, let's bring this down so I can show you all some of these things. Oh, wait a minute. Let me say thank you very much to Sandra. Thank you, Sandra, and welcome to the Ladies and Gentlemen's Club. All right. Debbie Sims, how you doing? Good to see you. All right, we are down, actually. That's awesome. Kat Harvey, how are you doing? Karen Mills, all the way from Maryland. Happy New Year to you. Jeep Girl is here. B Walker is in the house. How you doing, B Walker? Good to see you. Janet Nice, how are you? Lynn Jacobs, hello. Good to see you. Marty Lauderdale is here. Let's see. Rice-A-Roni, I almost missed you. Jenny's Love is here also. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, check this out. I wanted to share this with you. Look at this. These are just a few little pictures that we took during our Christmas time with Michael and Victor. And that's Michael right there. So Michael was playing with my phone, and he actually took that picture. Oh, just a second. Michael was actually playing with my phone, and he took that picture himself right there. So that's little Michael right there. Let's bring it forward a little bit. And that, again, that's Michael. And of course, you all know Victor. All right, Victor, for those of you who don't know, he's my son. I know, I know that Victor hasn't been around very much lately because he no longer lives here. And that's another picture that Michael took himself. Let's see. I think there's one more. And look at that. He's also getting up on his own. All right. So he's also standing up on his own. He's not walking yet, but he's also standing up on his own. So I think that was it. I didn't want to make this file too big. That way it would upload and you'll be able to see it. All right. And I also want to go ahead and show you all. Man, I've got so much here to show you. Let me see. So one of the companies that I've advocated for, because I think they're a good company, because they're a small company that immigrated here like 20 years ago. And they've just been working really hard to achieve the American dream, which means anyone can do it. These people came here with nothing. And 20 years later, they have a small company that actually produces a great product. Hello, Bonnie. So they actually sent me a box with Christmas presents. I was like, wow, that is so awesome. And it really says a lot. And you probably won't be able to see who it is here, but it's from 4 Jars. So they sent me a little, let me see if you can see. This is, you can't see their staff, but that's their staff there. Like I said, it's a small company. There's less than 10 people. And in addition to that, I know Yarn Prepper is going to get jealous here in a minute, but they sent me some canning lids as a Christmas present, along with some candies and things like that I left in the house because it already got stripped from my hands. But I wanted to say thank you very much to 4 Jars for doing that. Very thoughtful. And again, I think they're a great company that makes a good product. So I'm not affiliated with 4 Jars. I just think that they make a really good product. And actually, they asked me if I would affiliate with them. And I said, no, I want you to keep all the profits because You know, they barely made it through the health crisis, 2.5 year fiasco that we had, and I just want to make sure that that they're gonna make it and stick around for a long time because they make a good product. So thank you, 4Jars. And if you don't know what 4Jars is, just type in 4jars.com. It'll bring you to their site. And if you want canning lids, they actually have very, very competitive prices for canning lids. And I think their canning lids do a good job. All right. So thank you, 4Jars, again. Now, someone sent me this and they didn't leave their name or anything. They shipped it to me right from the mint. But I just thought that this was really cool. They sent me a 1 ounce silver coin. And what it is an emoji silver coin. So the back of it, I'm not sure that you'll be able to see it, but the back of it is full of little emojis. All right. So I hope that whoever sent me this is watching, because again, they didn't leave a name or anything. They sent it to me right from the mint or whoever it is, the wholesaler or the retailer. They sent it to me right from them. And they even sent me a little case to put it in. And I took it out of the case because it shows better if it's not in the case on the camera. So I wanted to say thank you very much for that. Very much appreciate it. And I'm very grateful for that. Let me see. I'm going to try not to show. Okay, wait a minute. This is not okay. I was going to show you this card right here. Somebody sent me this card, but it's got all the information on it. So thank you for this card. You probably know who you are just by the actual card, the red card. I also got a card from Eric from Nutrient Survival. Eric Christensen, the CEO. And I'm going to go through these really quick because there's a lot of them. Here's one of them. And I just want you all to know that everyone that sent me a card, I actually read every single one. Okay. So I didn't just open them and show them. I actually read every single one of them this time. Myself, my wife usually reads them, but I went ahead and read them myself this time. All right. Here's another one. So like I said, I'm going to go through these quickly because there's a lot. And I want to thank you all ahead of time for taking the time to do that. Here's another one. Obviously, they got here a little bit late because these are Christmas cards. But here's another one. Let's see. We'll be here an hour later, be just bringing up cards. That's why I have to go buy them quick. Look at that. Another one. Merry Christmas. That's really pretty. I really like that. Look at that. Peace on Earth. Old school Merry Christmas card. Oh, and you know what? Also, I'm not sure which one it is, but I left it in there. Ladies and gentlemen, you don't ever have to send me any money at all. Someone, and I'm not going to mention names, but somebody, bless their soul, send me a $5 bill. Please don't ever send me any money. Like if you send me a card, you don't need to send me any money. But someone sent me a $5 bill and, I showed it to my wife and it really warmed my heart. But you don't have to do that. Please, that $5, you could probably take that. If you're not 100% prepped, you can take that $5 and throw it into 2 or 3 pounds of pasta. All right. But anyways, this is really pretty. I really like that. Well, I kind of like them all. Some of these are like old school, and I really like the old school. Or this. Is this? There you go. That's another one. All right, we're almost done. We're almost done. All right, so the person that sent me this sent me a $5 bill inside. All right, so thank you so much. All right. And they also sent me this too, where it says Merry Christmas, or this way. There's another one. Almost done. Everyone's favorite Christmas food. And we got 2 more. This one right here and this one. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you. I hope that those of you that took the time and expense to send these, that you saw that I got them. So thank you so much. Let's see. Oh, look at this. We can't miss this. I got this from a certain moderator who's turned her hobby, or not, who's turned her hobby into a money-making machine. And Yarn Prepper, I do believe that you sell these, right? Yarn Prepper, if you have a site, I think you do. I've seen it before. If you have a site where you sell these, put it up so I can leave it on the front there. But look at what Yarn Prepper sent me. Aren't these cool? Like again, ladies, I'm old school. I like little things like this. This is like for a cup or something like that. Or you can actually use these also as a washcloth or a scrubber. But look at these. These were all done by hand, by the way. All right. And that's not the only thing that she sent me. She sent me some dish scrubbers, and she said you can also use these to scrub yourself if you need to. And then she sent me a couple of dishcloths. And remember, these are all done by hand. So thank you, Yarn Prepper. And listen, Yarn Prepper, the ones that you sent in the past, we actually use them all the time. So don't think that these are going to go in a box and never get used. They're definitely going to get used. All right, so let's see. All right, let's put that over there so it's out of the way. Okay, so what else? Also, I wanted something from Christmas that I got from my family. And I asked for this. This is like a really expensive bottle of soy sauce. This soy sauce is aged for like 4 years in Japan. And when I say really expensive, is for soy sauce, it's really expensive because it's what? It's 18 ounces, but it was like $40. So I can't wait to try it out next time that I make some Chinese fried rice or some egg fried rice or something like that. But I got this, and I think it came from Amazon because that's where I looked at it. And then I did receive, wait till you see what I got here. Let me show you. I have to show you the box because I'm not able to show you the actual thing during a live stream because if not, they'll just shut us down. So the Kilted Prepper, right? The Kilted Prepper, Raymond is his name. I went ahead and did I hate calling it an interview because we just chatted back and forth for about an hour. But let's say a collaboration. I did a collaboration on his channel here a couple weeks back. And he's a writer, and he actually has 3 books out. And it's this one right here, A Quick Start Guide to Getting Prepared. And that's him right there. That's Raymond. Weaponize when a gun isn't the answer. So weapons when a gun isn't the answer. That's another one. And Surviving the Coming Storm, Financial Collapse. That's another one right there. And he did something really cool, which is that he autographed every one of them. So, Raymond, if you ever become famous enough, these might end up on eBay. So if you guys want to check these out, go to Amazon and just check them out. They are on Amazon for him. No, I'm not getting a cut for this, all right? You trolls out there. Let's see. And Raymond also sent me this. I'm not going to show you the actual knife, but I'm going to show you the box. On YouTube, if you're doing a live stream and you show an actual knife, then they'll stop your live stream right away, right? So he sent me this awesome knife, and this thing is huge. The handle of it is about the same length as the box itself. It's huge and very sharp. And they're very, the reason he told me that he really likes these is because you get a lot for your money with these, right? So thank you very much, Raymond. And I also got a book from someone. I'm not sure when I'll be able to read it, but it's called The Bunker Codes, right? It's about bunkers, and it came autographed as well. A Beginner's Guide to Bunkers. And they sent me 2 of them. So I'll probably be giving one of these away to someone from here in Fairbanks. So thank you very much. In addition to that, the same person that sent me those 2 books sent me this little card here that you can carry in your wallet that has little tools. And I'll tell you what, that right there is pretty sharp in itself. But I won't say that too loud so we don't get shut off. And they also included a couple of blankets. So thank you very much. And these come in very, very handy, by the way. All right, so thank you for that. And the last thing that I got is I asked for another wallet. That way, when my wallet goes, I can have a backup. And I got a nice little wallet. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm not sure about you, but whenever we gift wallets here, we always include a little bit of money in the wallet. It's like for good luck. So my wife's the one that gave me this, and I was like, man, you put $10 in there? And she was like, well, I didn't have any singles or any 5s. And I had to put money in it before I wrapped it. So that is it, ladies and gentlemen. I got a couple of other things for Christmas. I actually got something that I really like, and I didn't bring back here because it's very heavy. So for my snowplow, there's something that's called a boot. I didn't even know this. I've seen it in other plows before, but I just thought that my snowplow wouldn't accept it. And I'll show it off once I get it put on. But it's a boot that you put in the bottom that keeps the bottom of the snowplow blade from scratching the ground, which is going to be very helpful. I got that. I got a shirt. I got an Under Armour shirt because I really like those shirts. And then I got a stocking full of, little candies and beef jerky and things like that. So that was it. I had a great Christmas. Of course, the most fun was being able to spend the time with Michael and my son, my family, right? And what we did is in our second living room that we have, what we did was we covered the entire floor with pillows and with blankets, and we even had one of those 3-inch foam mattresses, like one of those covers. So we put it on the floor and we just let Michael go loose, and he was going everywhere. So it was a great time. I hope that you all had a great Christmas as well. So who else is here? Chance Paladin, Blue Collar Prepper, how you doing? Let's see. Yes, Santa is always good to me. Always good to me, Linda Bob. Let's see. Anne Marie, I've been on since about 2 o'clock, so about half an hour or so, right? Gigi, that's so funny. I just don't really care for. Usually for Christmas, I always want a pair. I always want a. That for those of you that may not be watching and listening, Gigi says, "Sounds pretty fair. You bought the wife a Harley." It's not a Harley, it's a Kawasaki, and you get $10 of your due on it. That's all right. But I never really asked for much. Like, I always want to get a pack of socks. It reminds me of my mother-in-law because she always used to give me a pack of socks for Christmas. And then that wallet, I really wanted to have a backup wallet in case the wallet that I have now fails. So because wallets, I use them so much, like for ATM or credit card, that, and my ID especially, that it wears out, especially, taking the ID in and out of there. But anyways, that was funny. How you doing, busy girl? Good to see you. Cha-Cha, how are you? Good to see you. Kim's Cluckers is here, all the way from Michigan. Crafty with Love, how are you? Happy Girl is here. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, let's sell it loose. Let's set it loose. If you have any questions, anything you want to share with the community, put it in all caps. I didn't really come prepared to talk about anything in specific. I just wanted to hang out with you all. I'm not having a live stream on Sunday, but then after this Sunday, our next live stream will be next Friday. And then I'll start doing a live stream every Friday and Sunday after this Sunday. And make sure that you're here next Friday, ladies and gentlemen. All right. I'm not going to say anything else, but make sure you're here next Friday. Some of you may walk out of here or leave this live stream with some stuff you didn't have prior to. Okay. Let's see. Janet B., how are you? Good to see you. Klingon Princess is here. Yeah, indeed. And you know what was so funny, Klingon Princess, or what's so nice, is that Michael had such a good time. He was happy the whole time, crawling all over the place the whole time. I mean, it was awesome. Let me go ahead and share. Let me share these pictures with you again. That way, those of you that weren't here prior, that just got here, can see them. You can see that's me and Michael. That's Michael and his daddy, Victor. Oh, he's so cute. And this picture right here, Michael took this picture of his face himself with my phone. And you can see him standing up there trying to find some presents. So yeah, I had a great time. Very, very, very blessed. Let's see. Oh, great question, Esther. Esther asks, how do you prep meat? Well, there's a few different ways. I'm going to go ahead and take the way that I don't like out of the equation first. That way I can talk about the rest. I really don't like prepping meat by drying it because I really don't like jerky. Jerky, and it's a personal thing. It's not that there's anything wrong with jerky. I've had some jerky that's really, really good. Actually, Billy and Dee from Frontier Preppers, they make a really good jerky. Well, Billy's the one that does it. It's his recipe. But they make an awesome jerky. And I do make an exception whenever he makes some of that because it's really so good. But I have a whole bunch of, I have 2 or 3 food traps in between my teeth And for those of you that may not know what a food trap is when some of your teeth are a little bit too wide apart, spread apart, food and stuff gets stuck there. So whenever I eat meat, I immediately have to go and floss because it's just packed in there. So I try not to eat jerky and stuff like that because it really bothers me and sometimes even starts to hurt. But the ways that I prep meat, and that's what I'll share with you, is first you can go ahead and freeze it. And if you're going to freeze it, what I would do is I would make sure that I vacuum seal it. If you vacuum seal it properly and it holds it and the bag holds its integrity, I've eaten steaks out of my freezer that were more than 2 years old that were properly vacuum sealed. Absolutely nothing wrong with it. You would never be able to tell that that steak was 2 years old. All right, so that's one. But another way is by pressure canning. You can pressure can meats either in the cold pack method or the hot pack method. And the difference between both is my favorite being the cold pack method. All you really have to do, excuse me, all you really have to do is just get that meat, preferably without the bones, but I have done bones before, but preferably without the bones. That way you can get more bang for your real estate, for that space in your jar. All you have to do is just pack the meat in there raw. And after I pack it in there, I think the new rule now is like 3/4 of an inch from the top. Get it 3/4 of an inch from the top. And then I put, for a quart, I put 1 teaspoon of salt. And for a pint, I put a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. But you don't have to put any salt if you don't want to. I don't season it or anything like that because I rather have kind of like a clean canvas when it comes to meat. I just put a little bit of salt because I think it really helps to bring the flavor out of that meat. And that lasts a very long time. I've got some chicken that I pressure canned back about 6-7 years ago. Absolutely nothing wrong with it. I've never had any of the pressure canned meats that I put away go bad on me, really. I had one jar failure years ago, and I was able to tell because the lid popped and that stuff in there started turning bad. But that's the only failure I've ever had when it comes to canning meat. So anyways, the hot pack method is when you already cook the meat, and then you put it in the jar. But when you do that, you want to go ahead and fill that jar up with broth, right? Because if not, that meat's going to be really dry when you get it. Right. So those are two ways of pressure canning. And then, of course, you can always freeze dry meats. And I do that as well. I actually am getting ready to do another batch in the freeze dryer. And for those that think that a freeze dryer is expensive, I have a funny story actually behind that from one of the Christmas cards that I got that I forgot to tell you all. But for those of you that think that it's expensive, the initial investment is a little bit pricey. However, if you use your freeze dryer, you can make that return on investment very quickly. So one of the persons that sent me a card, she wrote in the card, she said, I showed my husband the video that you did breaking down how many cycles of freeze drying beef it would take for you to make your return on investment. And guess what I'm getting for Christmas, she said. So she got her freeze dryer for Christmas, and all you have to do is use it. If you use it, you will make your money back that you invested, especially if you use it to put away beef and chicken, the meats, because the meats are very expensive from a third party. And then that's another way that you can store meats also, or that you can prep meat. You can either buy them in cans, right? Which I have nothing against buying canned meat that's already done for you. If it makes sense financially, then I would do it. Meaning that if I can buy them in cans and it comes out cheaper than what it would cost me to pressure can them, all the way from buying the meat to actually using a new lid for that jar. If it comes out cheaper in cans, I don't mind buying the cans as long as they're not full with a lot of stuff. The only types of meat that I like that are full with a lot of stuff that's not good for you, well, it's not really not good for you, but spam. Spam really doesn't have much stuff in there that's not good for you, so it's actually good, except, everything is ground up and liquefied and put into a can. And then the other way, the most expensive way that I found is if you purchase freeze-dried meats from a third party. That's very expensive. So if I have a choice between purchasing from a third party freeze-dried meats that are already packaged or freeze-drying it myself, I'd pick freeze-drying it myself anytime, any day of the week. It's just very cost-effective, and you make your money back quickly. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, I'm bringing it down, ladies and gentlemen. River Rat, how you doing? Happy New Year to you. Good to see you. Orange Too Sweet, how are you? Rainy day in Michigan. Oh my goodness. Well, hopefully it's warm enough where that rain is melting away whatever snow you have and actually going down the gutters or the drains. Lizette Gonzalez, how are you from Miami? Good to see you. Doggone it, Scrap Metal Racing is in the house. All right. Hey, be careful driving there, Scrap Metal Racing. Good to see you. Happy New Year. Enough said is here. I was just thinking, man, I gave you such a long answer to that one, like 3 or 4 word question on how to prep meats. Hi, Desert Homestead. How you doing? Melissa Dove, do you think the United States would get nuked? Well, I don't think so. I don't think that we're gonna have. I hope that I'm right. By the way, I hope I'm 100% right. And some people may disagree with me, but I really don't think that we will have like a nuclear war worldwide. Because if the United States gets nuked, we're gonna have a worldwide nuclear war. Right? That's just all there's to it. If the U.S. gets nuked, we're gonna have a worldwide nuclear war. Why? Because the U.S. is NATO, right? Pretty much. When it comes down to you know how much each country in NATO provides towards military force. But the reason that I don't think that we are going to have a world war as far as nuclear weapons go, we may have a conventional world war where it's feet on ground, boots on ground, and munitions and stuff dropping like that. But the reason I don't think is because even as sick as some of these people are that sit in their ivory towers and make the decisions that pretty much affect us, even as sick as they are, I don't think that they want to live in a bunker for the next 20 years. See, I don't think that they want to live in a bunker for the next 20 years. And to me, that's what it comes down to. And again, I hope I'm right. But I do believe that if we do have a big war throughout the world, that it will be a conventional war. Now, I'm not saying that a tactical nuclear warhead wouldn't be used. Here, I don't know. Here, it could be possible, but overseas, in Eastern Europe, more than likely, if a nuclear war is used, I believe it would be more of a tactical form, just so that one party or another can say, hey, you see, I can do it, and I'm not afraid to do it, so leave me alone. That's what I think. But again, ladies and gentlemen, I don't really look at that too much. And the reason why I don't pay too much attention to that, like, can we have a nuclear war or can we be attacked by a nuclear war? Do I know that Russia's pointing ICBMs towards Alaska? I don't pay too much attention to that because what are you going to do? There's nothing that you can do. The only thing that you can do when it comes to a nuclear war is try to be as prepared as you can possibly be. Everyone can't be prepared for every single scenario. You try to be prepared as best as you possibly can be, all right, for any circumstance, and then make sure that you're prepared spiritually. If you're a person of faith, make sure that you're prepared that way as well. If you look at yourself in the mirror and you see that maybe you can put forth a little bit of improvement or, improve on the way that you are, the kind of person that you are, then do so. None of us is perfect, right? So just trying to improve there and be comfortable with who you are, be comfortable with the life that you've lived. And after that, ladies and gentlemen, it's all in God's hands. So I try not to worry about that stuff. I do not have any anxiety whatsoever about nuclear warheads. I have none whatsoever. Again, because if it happens, it happens. And then we take it from there, right? Sunny, Wisconsin, how you doing? Jen Teal, Matt Bob, how you doing? Good to see you. Let me bring it down a little bit. Let's see. Well, SR, I'm not sure what your question is. Maybe you pressed the button a little fast before you finished typing it. AP would like some feedback on my prepping. I started when Ron, and it stops right there. Hi, Desert Homestead. How you doing? Good to see you. Whoa, congratulations, Cutting Tool Designer. Congratulations. Just had our 7th grandchild a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, he is a happy boy. Yeah, Michael is a very happy boy. Man, he's a lot of fun. A lot of fun and a lot of work too, but it's really worth it. A lot of fun. Oh, whoa, Chance Paladin, you're the one that sent me those books, and I know that you wrote your name on there, but I can't remember so many names. Let me see. If I ever read it, I will. I'm not being facetious by saying that, but I really don't like reading too much. But every once in a while, I do pick up a book, but I do appreciate it. And yes, I will. Well, Anne Marie, that's what happens. The older that I get, the less red meat and meats altogether that I can eat. Like if there's absolutely no way that I can eat the amount of meat that I used to eat when I was younger. It's like now one serving is one serving. So like, four, I might go up to like 6 ounces of red meat in one sitting. And after that, I just can't eat anymore. But I mean, I used to be able to eat a lot more than that as far as meat goes. Chicken's a little bit different. Chicken I can digest a lot easier. But it seems that whenever I eat red meat or eat too much of it, it just sits in my stomach, right? Because I do have a slower metabolism now. So it sits in my stomach and it just doesn't feel good. But I do love the taste of red meat. I'll tell you that. I'll never stop eating red meat. But yeah, yep. I wish that some of those younger days were back when it comes to eating certain things. Sharon asks, what do I think about Mango Power? Man, I know I've heard Mango Power before. Oh, Mango Power? The actual solar generator? I'm not going to talk about it. But I did do a video a couple of days ago where I actually showed you what are the things that I look for when I'm purchasing a solar generator and the things that you should match with other solar generators, including the price. All right, let me see if I remember. One of the things that I look for when well, not really purchasing one because I don't purchase them. I get them for free for reviewing them, but it's not like I can really purchase many different brands here in Alaska. It's very difficult to purchase one and get it shipped to you. And actually, more than half of the solar generator companies that want to send me a solar generator, they never can because they get stuck in between wherever they're sending it from and here somewhere in some post office that won't forward it, that won't keep shipping it. So one of the things that I look for is the watt hours. How many watt hours does it have, right? How many watts, continuous watts, can you put out of it? So, for example, the OPS 2400 has a battery that's 2232 watt hours, right? It can put out continuous watts of 2400 continuous watts all the time until the battery is drained. I also look for the surge. I believe that the OPS, if I remember correctly, is 4,000 watt surge. That way, if you have a compressor from a refrigerator or from a pump or something like that, if you have a high surge, it won't fault out. I also look to see what the input power is with the AC charger and or with the solar panels as well. The higher, the better for the solar panels, in my opinion, because really, when you get a solar generator, one of the reasons you get it is because you would like to be able to replenish the battery with solar power in case you lose grid power for a very long time. So I would rather have a solar generator that has a high capacity input for your solar panels. And if the capacity of the input for your AC charger is not that much, not that big of a deal, because if you're charging it from your AC wall outlet, it means that you have power anyways and you're using it as a backup. Right. So I look for that as well. And then the last thing that I look for, or I look for a battery, it has to have a LiFePO battery. So if it has a lithium iron phosphate battery, to me, that's the best battery in the market for solar generators. It gives you the most life cycles. And it also is, in my opinion, a lot safer than the other batteries. I think that in this environment right now that we have with all of the competition that there is with solar generators, that they should all be putting a LiFePO battery in there because, in my opinion, it's the best battery out there for solar generators, right? So, and then the last thing that I look for is the price per watt hour. So let's say, for example, this OPS, right? And by the way, the OPS, they're still on sale till the end of this month, right? Xmas 22. right? If you look at the description of the video, you should have a link there. And if you use the code Xmas22, they're still on sale. You can get this right now, I think below 1,500 bucks. So if you take that 2,232 watt hours and then you divide that into what it costs, I think it's like $1,505 or something like that, then you get around 65 cents or something like that per watt hour. The lower the watt hours, the lower the price per watt hour, the better, as long as all of those other things check out. So if you have a solar generator that has a good amount of watt hours in storage, that has a good inverter where you can put out, you can, what do you call it? Put continuous output of wattage, and you have a good input, either solar and or AC, you have a good battery, you have a good surge, and then you have good watt hours per dollar, around 60, between 65, 70 cents, I would say is really good. Those are the things that I look for. Now, when I looked at this one right here, the reason that I know about this solar generator is because someone sent me an email asking me about it. So I went ahead and researched it with what was available on the internet. In my opinion, it's just a little too pricey for what you get. It's just too much. I think the watt hours are over $1 per watt hour. So, but that's my opinion, ladies and gentlemen. It's always best that you do your own research and match against other brands and other capabilities to make sure that you're getting what you need. Let's see. Yes, that should power an electric blanket, Little Lone Prepper. Little Lone Prepper asked, for those of you that are not watching and listening, someone is selling a Blue Eddy 600 for $200. Will that power my electric blanket? It should. Electric blankets don't use a lot of wattage, to tell you the truth. Usually they average between like 40 and 80 watts. But what you want to remember is that it's not going to last you very long, right? Because 600 watts, or I think that one has like 500 and something watt hours. Not very sure, not very familiar with Blue Eddy anymore. But yeah, you're going to go ahead and use that up pretty quick. It might last you 5 or 6 hours, depending on how big your electric blanket is. But it should charge it, no problem. How you doing, Danny Williamson? Good to see you. Chance Paladin, how you doing? Where are we at? I'm ugly chicken all the way, Cat. Cat asked, do you prefer ugly chicken or pre-cooked? Ugly chicken all the way, which means that it's pretty much being cold packed. It's always come out so good for me. Never had a complaint with it. Okay, I'm going to bring it down because I started talking too much. No, you know what? I don't like that, Cat. I started talking too much and got carried away. Cat says, AP, you should try cooking your meat sous vide before freeze drying it. So good. I cooked some meat before, some steak. I think it was ribeye sous vide. I just didn't like it. I really did not like it. I rather put it in my air fryer. That's my favorite way. And whenever I do freeze dry prepared meat, like Hello Sunset, whenever I prepare beef for like the freeze dryer, I usually try to go out there and get the cheapest, higher quality beef. So I won't go to Tommy G's if I'm going to freeze dry beef. No way. Tommy G's is like for special occasions. And Tommy G's, for those of you that don't know, is a local butcher that sells really, really good Black Angus beef. It's like the 3% in the world. But we do that on special occasions, and that's it. But I'll go to Costco and pick up a couple of roasts. Or the last time that I did it, I picked up 3 packs of roasts that equaled about 13 and a half, 14 pounds. And I found that 13 and a half, 14 pounds for a small freeze dryer, which is what I have, the 3-shelf one, is the perfect amount to be able to cook it all and put it in there, and it fit in every tray, right, without any excess being left over. So yeah, that's what I do is I use the best meat that I can, the best quality, but the cheapest cut, which I found is like the round. I think it comes out to like $7.49 a pound, something like that. Who's your pioneer? Does a freeze dryer generate heat into the room? Yes, it does. That's why I don't freeze dry in the summertime when it's warm outside, because the room where I have my freeze dryer in, I learned this summer that if that room gets too warm and that pump doesn't dissipate the heat fast enough, that your freeze drying, your cycle is going to take a lot longer. So I save my freeze drying for when it's cool outside and that room is pretty cool, right? I don't have central air conditioning, so I won't do that in the summertime. I learned that this summer. Excuse me. Let me take a sip of my drink. Okay. Happy New Year, Dawn. Good to see you. The Nate Queen Solo. Hello. Rudy, do you think we may have volcanic troubles in Yellowstone? To me, Yellowstone is the same thing as a nuclear bomb. It's one of those things that if Yellowstone goes off in a big way, like the big one, it's going to be a world problem. It's not just going to be a localized problem. Yes, the western half of the United States will probably get wiped out. And I'm serious. It will be a massive, massive worldwide event, but initially it will be a massive national event. As soon as that happens, probably the western half of the U.S. will probably get wiped out, just because of the mass that's under that volcano. So yes, and then afterwards, we're going to have to deal with the fallout from all of the particulates that's in the atmosphere that's going to keep sunlight from getting through for probably many years, more than 2 or 3. However, it's not something that I think about because, number one, there's nothing that we can do about that. And number two, that's going to be such a huge event that if it does happen, we're going to have what we have. So be as best prepared as you possibly can be. And that's one of those things that you really can't control when it happens. I've actually done a little bit of reading on that Yellowstone, and scientists actually say that we're due for Yellowstone to go off. Geologically, time speaking, and geological time, we're due for Yellowstone to go off, but that it can go off tomorrow, but it might go off in another 500 years or 1,000 years. So they say that it can go off at any time. So it's not something that I would worry about. Don't live your life around Yellowstone erupting or not. Just live your life, prep as best as you can prepare, but make sure you live your life. Hello, Jacqueline Johnson. How are you? Good to see you. Frenchie Mama, how are you? How much of silver in ounces should we have? Well, that's a different amount for different people, but I'm going to give you an example. I've actually studied Venezuela quite a bit from when they started their financial collapse. Around 2012 is when they started really having a bad financial collapse, and they're still really not that well off. It's getting a little bit better, but really not as much, given that it's been 10 years already. So I did some calculations that 1 ounce of silver in Venezuela during the roughest of times could feed a family of 4. I think it was 4 or 5, but let's say 4. 1 ounce of silver can feed a family of 4 3 square meals a day, as prescribed by the government's pyramid. So that's breakfast with all of the things that you eat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. As far as how many calories they need, so they can feed a family of 4 3 full meals a day for like 5 days. So that's about 20 meals. So what I would say is that getting ready for something to happen that's similar to that, which I believe we will turn into a Venezuela one day. I believe that if you have 2 ounces of silver for every day that you want to maintain the same standard of living that you had before, meaning that you're going to be able to feed your family, you're going to be able to put gas in your vehicle. Because remember, if you have an economic collapse, it doesn't mean that everything disappears. It just means that everything is going to be exorbitantly more expensive because your money is going to be worth almost nothing, if not nothing at all. But silver and gold, it's real money. It's not something that can go away. It's real money. It has real tangible and fungible value, right? So I figure that for 2 ounces a day, you can live your life, your standard of living pretty much the same to before your currency lost all that value. So I think that 2 ounces a day times however many days you feel you need to be prepared for, that's what I would shoot for, right? That's my goal. And the more, the better. The more, the better, in my opinion. Okay, let's see. I want to make sure that I don't miss anything. Just Arizona, how are you doing? Happy New Year's to you and blessings to you as well. Oh, there you go. So Yarn Prepper says that she's on Instagram as Yarn Prepper. All right, so Yarn Prepper is on Instagram as Yarn Prepper. So if you want to get your handmade stuff, go look her up. You know, Yarn Prepper, you know I'm going to expect this from you every year now. Ooh, Ellie Marie asked, can you talk more on the video you just did on the volcano? Well, I mean, I'm not sure how much more to say. If you haven't watched that video, go watch it, because the fact of the matter is, ladies and gentlemen, it is very probable that what I talked about on that video happens. We are entering into a cycle, which is the grand solar minimum. It is a cycle, whether you want to think it or not. It is a cycle that has occurred throughout history, and it is documented and peer-reviewed papers by scientists that do core samples, and they say, yeah, this is what happened. So we have entered in 2020. We entered into the eddy minimum, which is the grand solar minimum that we're currently easing into. All right, and whenever a grand solar minimum occurs, one of the things that happens is that we have a lot more volcanic activity. And you all know that whenever a volcano erupts and it sends particulates, sulfur, water vapor into the atmosphere, into the stratosphere, that those particulates stay up there for a pretty long time. The water vapor is what comes down the fastest, but your sulfur and your dust will stay up there sometimes, depending on the strength of the eruption, sometimes for years. So if you all go back and study the year without a summer, because of the eruption of, I believe it was Tambora back in 1815, you'll notice that for the next couple of years, well, the next year they had a year without a summer, which means that it literally was no summer that year. It was snowing when it should have been warm outside. And it was snowing in parts of the world that it never really snowed before. And that wreaked havoc on the food supply. Why? Because you need sun in order to be able to grow food. So there was a lot of famine. A lot of people starved. A lot of people did crazy things that normally people would not do unless they were really desperate to survive and live. And it is something that you need to prepare for. Why? Because the probability of that happening within this grand solar minimum is very good. Like I said, it's all a cycle, right? And I think it was back in April, we had Mount Tonga, I think it's Tonga, that erupted. And it actually was a number 6 on the volcanic, what is it called? I forget what the E stands for. Volcanic EI, VEI. It was a number 6. It's pretty much like the strength of the eruption of the volcano. So it was a 6 out of 8. Well, Mount Tambora was a 7 out of 8. And we are just now entering into this grand solar minimum. So what are the probabilities that something like that happens in this grand solar minimum cycle? I would say that the probabilities are pretty high. But ladies and gentlemen, it happened back in 1815, right? And we're still here, which means that people survived, which means that it's a survivable event, unless you live really close to the volcano that erupts in that fashion, right? But I put a lot more information. I left a lot of links for this, or I used a lot of different sites for that video. So go check it out. I think it's very important that we prepare for everything, but I think that is most important that people wake up and understand that they need to prepare. You don't have to prepare for every different scenario. If you're just starting out, you can just prepare the basics. And trust me, even if you just prepare the basics, you know, the beans, bullets, band-aids, even if you just prepare the basics, you're going to be way better off than about 95%, 90% of the people in whatever country you live in. It's probably about the same thing in every country as far as how many people are prepared. Yeah, Funky Man, just send me an email, brother. My email address is on the description of the videos. Just send me an email and we'll set something up. I know that our times are crazy, but we'll set something up, man. Yeah, I'd love to come onto your channel. That'd be awesome. Let's see. I'm looking. I'm looking. No, 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 B Walker. I am not going to be a vegetarian. Nothing against it. You can eat whatever you want to eat, ladies and gentlemen. But I like steak. It's just a shame that I can't eat as much of it in one sitting as I used to. Let's see. Linda Bob says, Rudy, I bought boxes of those scallop and au gratin, also sour cream and chives, great value brand. Man, I wish that we can still find them for 98 cents a box up here, but we just can't. But yeah, those are very nice. And you know what? Those store for a really long time just in their packages, just in the original package, they'll store for a very long time. So those people that are just starting out in their preparedness journey, they think they have to buy all this fancy stuff, but no. Usually the things that you already eat, if you put that in your pantry, usually those things store for a long time already. And think about it. There's not very many foods out there that are prepackaged that you buy at the store, you know, pasta, rice, beans, canned goods and stuff like that, that have a best buy date of less than a year from the time you buy it, unless you're buying it on sale, right? Because it's almost up there. But normally they have a best buy date of at least a year. So if you put everything in your pantry that you eat on a regular basis and you have a year supply and you just rotate it, you'll always have food in there that's fresh, that will never go bad because you're rotating it and you didn't have to do any special packaging yourself. All right. So think of it that way, and it will save you money because you'll be able to buy at today's prices instead of next year's, which is going to be a lot more expensive. And also, since you already have everything you need for about a year or so, you can wait to buy things on sale. Right. So let's say that you use 48 cans of corn in a year, right? And you notice that you're down to 36 cans of corn, and you're like, man, I got to buy another flat so that I can fill in the 12 cans that I need. Well, you can wait until that corn goes on sale, and hopefully you can get it on sale because you still have plenty, right? And it's not something to be worried about. You still have plenty. You still have 9 months left if you have 36 cans. That's just an example, but it's a great way of being able to find things on sale. Help Miss Worm get to 200 subscribers. Well, hot dog. Miss Worm, I'm not Copernicus. I don't know if I've been missing this whole time, but I'll have to go check out his Miss Worm channel. Okay, I'll go subscribe right after this. Miss Worm, Copernicus, did you just get that channel? You must have. You have 200 subscribers because I might have heard about it before. I just forgot. Let's see. Simple or us, how are you? Santa brought us the Ninja Foodie. Oh, you're going to love that thing. You will love it. I love my Ninja air fryer. And it's the one that I have is a small one. It's a small one. And I love that thing. All right, let's see. Let's bring it down a little bit. Sharon, no, it is solar. If you're talking about the same one I'm talking about, that Mango, you can actually put up to 2,000 watts of solar on there. You can put up to 20 100-watt solar panels on that system, that Mango that you're talking about. Now, it can also be charged via a 30 amp outlet that you would have to more than likely charge it using a generator that has a 30 amp outlet, and it will charge pretty quickly that way. So, but yeah, you can actually use solar for that system as well. I'm pretty sure. Yes, you can. Because I remember looking at the site and they had package deals where you can buy it with solar panels also. All right, let's bring it down. Let's see. Crafty with love. AP, what would you do if you could not afford a generator, electric, or solar? So if I could not afford that stuff, the first thing that I would do is, because I think that a regular generator, all right, obviously I love solar generators, right? But I think that a regular generator that uses fuel, be it gasoline or propane, or if it's dual, I think it's more important to have one of those first before you get a solar generator. I think that a solar generator is a great complement to a gas generator, but I think you should always have a gas generator first because it allows you to control how long you can run it. You see, right now outside, we have a cloud cover. We have about a 1,500-foot cloud cover that won't let any sun through. It's kind of like daylight outside. You can see that it's daylight outside, but there's no sun going through anything, right? So I can't control whether we're going to have sun or not to power my solar generator, but I can control how many cans of gasoline I can put away and treat it so that it'll last a long time. I can control that. So first and foremost, I always recommend that you get a gas generator before a solar generator, right? And there are some people that will say, well, I live in an apartment, and I understand that. Then in that case, you may want to get a solar generator first and foremost, or maybe a small, quiet gas generator that you can maybe like put on your balcony or something if you live in an apartment. If you have that and if you can do that. Because I think that in an emergency, in a real emergency, the heck with all the laws, the heck with the codes, the heck with the rules in your apartment. If it's a real emergency, life or death, where you need to do this or else something bad's going to happen to you, I have no problem doing it, right? So that's the first thing. But if I couldn't afford one, the first thing that I would be doing is I would be thinking of how can I afford one? I wouldn't be telling myself, well, I can't get one. What I would be telling myself is, what can I do to get one? And I have two great examples for you. And that's this right here. That's this right here. You see this right here? This is Yarn Prepper's Kung Fu. I always say that everyone has a Kung Fu. You just have to find what it is. This is Yarn Prepper's Kung Fu. She loves doing this. She does an awesome job. She creates value out of something that used to be just a string, and people are willing to pay for it, right? So she's found a way to take one of the things that's her passion and monetize it, right? And if you're able to use your Kung Fu, try to monetize your Kung Fu so that you can then get those things that you feel you really need in order to be better off as far as being prepared or just your standard of living. And there's other side gigs that you can get. I mean, there's so many that you can do. All right. And so if you don't have, and let's just say, for example, that you're 100% disabled, right? And you can't afford a generator or a solar generator. Then what you have to do is you have to make a plan for that day, when and if it happens that you are in a life and death position, because let's say you lost power, let's say it's negative 20 degrees outside, let's say that there's absolutely nothing you can do to get electricity or to get heat. You have to make a plan to have somewhere to go, right? That's like the worst case scenario. You have to have a plan, be able to go somewhere, be ready to leave wherever it is that you live so that you can go and survive another day, right? That's the best that I can tell you as far as what I would do if I didn't have those things. I mean, we can get into do you have a wood stove? If you have a wood stove, then you have what you need in order to survive a cold winter, right? And there's actually small products that they make that are not very expensive that actually produce a little bit of electricity just from heat, where you can produce enough electricity to give yourself lights, to light up a few LED lights. But that's the best answer that I can give for that question. Thank you, by the way. Sparky's Run, how you doing? Richard Moore, how are you? Oh, look at who's here, Brenda. Brenda, how you doing? Happy New Year to you. Even though it's not New Year yet, but Happy New Year to you nonetheless. Okay, let's bring it down. Yes, I do. Tina Mac K. I do have a video when I did that 13 and a half, 14 pounds of beef. So just write down freeze dryer, Alaska Prepper space freeze dryer, and go to my videos and type that in, and it should pop up. It wasn't that long ago either. It's probably less than a month ago that I did that. Thank you, Brenda. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's not cheap. It's not cheap, Edward. $7.50 for round. Yep. It's not fancy stuff, but it is good quality. I think that for the most part, all of the meats that Costco sells, the raw meats that they sell, is pretty good quality. I've never really had any complaints. Oh, let's see. Raven Six Killer, how you doing? Thinking about waxing some cheese. I saw your video from a few years ago. That worked out great, Raven. It worked out really well. I actually did some follow-up videos on that cheese where I cut one open like a month later, then 3 months later, then 6 months later. I think we made it all the way to a year, if I remember right. And they were all good. All the ones that I did were good every month, 3 months to a year. The only difference between the original, like the 1 month one, to the one that was the 1 year one is that the older they got, the more sharp that they tasted. Right. So if you like sharp cheese, let them sit even longer. But they worked out great. You just have to remember to rotate those cheeses every day or two. Make sure that you have good airflow. Make sure that you don't have really hot temperatures. Probably around between 55 and 70 degrees, just like your pantry should be. And then make sure that you turn them over every day or two. That way they don't have any liquids or oils falling to the bottom and then it getting soft in the bottom and then it spilling out, because I've had that happen a long time ago. Not that go around, but years back. But yeah, it worked out great. It worked out great. If I ever have to do it again, I have no problem with doing it because I know that it will work good. Okay, bringing it down some. Well, Kim's Cluckers ask, how do you store ramen noodles? The ramen noodles that come in the plastic package, those go rancid. And the reason is because those noodles are deep fried, right? If you look at the fat content on them, it's got a pretty good amount of fat content. And the first time that I really looked at it, I was like, man, why does this have so much fat in it? Because it's just noodles. But then I found out that they deep fry those, okay? So those do go rancid. I've had some of those go rancid on me, and I don't store those anymore. A couple of reasons. We don't really go through them very often, but they do go rancid. However, the cup of noodles, the noodles that come in a cup and they're sealed, those last a really long time just being left alone. I still have some of those cup of noodles. They're probably about 2 or 3 years old. There's nothing wrong with them. Every once in a while, I'll grab one just to try it because I like those, but I don't eat them every day. I maybe eat 1 or 2 a year, if that. But those last a pretty long time. I haven't had any of those go bad yet. Well, I'm trying to click on one here. Huh. I'm trying to click on this here. There it is. So Laurie Unique, 2 ounces of silver per day per person. No. So when I was referring to how much silver I calculated that you need per day when comparing it to what Venezuela went through or is still going through too, is 2 ounces of silver per every 4. Let me see. 2 ounces of silver per day, but for a family of 4. Okay. So 2 ounces of silver per day for a family of 4, you should be able to maintain your standard of living as far as that you're going to be able to eat, that you're going to be able to drive back and forth from a job and just pay your basic things that you need to live every day, right? Because when you think about it, ladies and gentlemen, let's not even talk about silver, but let's say we did have an economic collapse. I don't think that even if you have a mortgage or something like that, I don't think you're going to be getting kicked out of your house, right? If something like that happens, because there's an economic collapse, there's going to be a little bit of chaos in the financial system. So when you think about it, like $50 a day, is that enough for you and your family to eat basic stuff, just to eat basic things to get by every day, and enough for you to put a gallon of gas in your vehicle to go back and forth to work and just pay for the very simple things every day? Now, when you think about it that way, 2 ounces kind of like works out. However, if we ever did have somewhat of an economic collapse, which I think that we will be having one, at least in my lifetime, sooner, more sooner than later, I think, that the actual value of the silver will go up compared to how much you can get for it now, because it's been manipulated and kept down for such a long time. When I look at silver and the prospect of it going up in price or up in value, really, not necessarily price, but up in value, I think about it as like a beach ball. Like if you take, like right now, silver and gold, in my opinion, are in an inverse bubble. So you know how the stock market or the housing market, they may be in a bubble, right? When you look at bubble. But me, the way I look at gold and silver, I think they're in an inverse bubble like this. And that inverse bubble can be represented by a beach ball that's just being pushed down and down and down. And throughout the years, the more that they've manipulated the price of silver and gold using paper contracts and ETFs and all of those things, the farther down that beach ball has gone. So the price has been suppressed for so long that when that beach ball is finally let go, it's just going to shoot straight up to the sky. And I personally think that that's what's going to happen to gold and silver. Maybe not in a nominal term, but in a value term, yes. Meaning that maybe not in the number of dollars that's assigned to its value, but in what it can actually purchase for you, right? As far as it being the metal. I hope that made sense. I know sometimes I confuse myself. Hey, Alphonse, how you doing? How you doing, Alphonse? Good to see you, brother. Happy New Year to you. Let's see. Well, LF, whatever monetary system we go to next, you're still going to be able to exchange your gold and silver for that, right? I do understand that I think there's like 6 states, something like that actually will accept gold or silver for tax, for you can pay your taxes with gold and silver. I think there's like 5 or 6 states that will let you do that, right? And there's even more states. I think there's 19 altogether right now that are wanting to make gold and silver a legal tender within their states. But it doesn't matter what country you go to, you can take a silver coin or a gold coin and exchange it for the equivalent in their currency of that country. And if we change our currency here, in this country, let's say we go from Federal Reserve notes back to Treasury notes, you're still going to be able to exchange your gold and silver for whatever new currency there may be, right? So you'll still be able to pay things like that. It's not necessarily that we're going to be walking around with gold and silver in our pockets. I mean, that's very possible that happens because once the government loses all trust from the people, as far as the monetary system goes, it usually reverts back to sound money. So it's likely that we could go back to where we have small silver coins, gold coins. Me personally, I don't think that's going to happen. But you'll still be able to exchange your gold and silver for the currency of that time. Thank you again, Brenda. I support the volcano in Yellowstone erupting. 5 years of darkness and ice age. If you stay in the lower 48, you're a goner. Yes, you would. I think you'd be a goner. And I mean, it would be really tough for us up here too in Alaska, because we get most of our stuff imported. We get most of our food and everything brought in. So it'd be very tough to survive up here. Let me see. The Neat Queen says, if it happened, it could throw a wrench into the crazy plan. Oh, trust me, they'll never stop being crazy. The crazies will never stop being crazy, no matter how many volcanoes erupted. All right. But it would be devastating, is what it would be. It would be somewhat of a reset, in my opinion, worldwide. And there would be massive life loss. I'm talking about billions. And that's just what I think. Eagle Steve, how you doing? Happy New Year, Eagle Steve. Good to see you here today. Goodness in every bite. Hello to you. I'm not sure what you're asking, Ryan. What do you recommend to solve transportation issues if we afford? I'm guessing that you meant to say if we cannot afford gasoline, get a bicycle. If you can afford to make an investment of an e-bike, electric bike, get one. Because I have a cheaper e-bike. I have an electric bicycle. It's a cheaper one. It's only like, I don't know, like 700 watts or something like that. It's not very big, but it can carry my fat body, which is important. And I didn't necessarily get it for like transportation of myself, but I got it for something else. I'll explain to you what that is here in a minute. But I got a cheaper e-bike, and it was like $600. And I know that may sound expensive, but if it's something that you really think would help you, then save up for it and get that. And the reason is this, because even with the cheaper one that I have, that thing will go about 14 or 16 miles on one charge. Right? And actually, one of my good friends gifted me for Christmas, like a year or 2 years ago for Christmas. She gifted me a battery, an extra battery for it. So I would do that, and it would allow you to get around at least within a 10-mile radius or something like that. Okay. Okay. Let me see. SBS, do you like growing sprouts? And do I like growing sprouts? I don't really grow them because I've tried growing them, and to tell you the truth, I just don't like them. I really just don't like them. I can grow them, and if we ever need to, I will, but I just don't like them. I rather just get my nutrients and vitamins somewhere else. I'll talk about nutrient survival here in a minute, right? But I do have to talk about that because I have to show you something that I found. In case you didn't watch my last video. Unrelated, what are your thoughts on the Great Reset and the global beast system? Well, my thoughts on that is that I believe that there are people that have become so rich with money wealthy, because wealth comes in different ways. But some people, they gauge their wealth and how much money they have. There are some people in the world that have so much money that they want the next best thing. You see, once you can have everything that your heart desires as far as a physical, possession, then, and you have so much money that there's absolutely no way that you can spend it in all your life. Some people are sociopaths and psychopaths. They want power. They want control. And what better to control than people, right? It's like a chess game for them. And I do believe that they do want to take over our lives. Just look around. I mean, in all honesty, just look around at all of the laws and all of the fiat laws that have been passed and all of the things that's going on in different countries. And they all have kind of like the same common denominator, and that's control. Do you know that in the United States of America alone, in the United States of America, there are over 300,000 laws. In the US, there's over 300,000 federal, state, county laws. In the United States of America, everyone in the US, I'm pretty sure, breaks at least 1 or 2 or 3 laws a day just because they don't know what it is, right? And out of that 300,000 laws, 22,000 alone are laws that have to do with the Second Amendment, right? So it's all about control, ladies and gentlemen, but we can resist by being prepared. And that's the truth. We can resist by being prepared, right? And eventually, when all of these draconian laws and draconian systems are put in place, eventually those people that are now asking for those systems to be put in place, the useful idiots, is what, and that's not what I call them. That's what they call them, useful idiots, right? Once the useful idiots realize that everything that they were championing, that everything that they were advocating for and voting for, it was really something against them more than anyone else, they will hate it and they will turn on their masters, right? And then maybe then we can come together as one and finally realize that as one, we have the power. We, the people, have the power as one. But when we stay separated and divided with all of these things that they manufacture via the mainstream media, via Hollywood, via the news, when we stay separated because of all of those manufactured things, then it's very easy for the powers that be to get away with a lot of things. But eventually those same people that are asking for all of these crazy things, they're the ones that are going to feel it first. You know why? Because most of those people, I would say, if not just about all of them, they're not prepared. So when all of these draconian measures start falling on their lap, the same ones that they've asked for, they're going to realize in a quick hurry, they're going to have a rude awakening at how terrible it is. And they will then say, no, we're not going to live like this. And us that were prepared, we're going to be like, man, it took you long enough. All right, let's go do what we have to do. And that's just history playing itself out. It's happened before and it will happen again. Let's see. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, check this out. This is not a nutrient survival infomercial. If you're not in the market for freeze-dried foods, then just, turn the volume down for the next, I'll try to say it in one, I'll try to do it in 1 minute, all right? But I do know that there's a lot of people in the AP community that love nutrient survival as much as I do. So I was taking a look at this, and I actually did this on my last video towards the end, but I'm taking a look at this 5-day reboot kit that Nutrient Survival put out. And I'm just going to take one of these out. Now, they come in these little packs right here, okay? So I'm looking at these, and I'm like, wait a minute. This is an NRE, a nutrients ready to eat. And NRE is like Nutrient Survival's MRE, take on MREs, right? This is pretty much 1 day's worth of food, believe it or not. And it really is. This stuff will fill you up because it's real food and it's full of nutrients. So anyways, I'm looking at this, and I'm looking at the price of this 5-day reboot kit. And the price of the reboot kit, if you use my AK10 code for 10% off, it comes out to like $123 or something like that. $120, $125, let's say. Well, if you take 5 NREs, 5 full NREs, which has the same stuff in it, it comes out to like $170, $160 after you take the 10% off. So you're pretty much getting 5 NREs in this little pack for about $45, $46 less than if you were to buy 5 NREs. And I know that people really like the NREs. And on top of that, you get a free bottle. Now, I'm not that excited about the bottle. I'm more excited about the price. I actually went ahead and ordered another 5 of those, right? Nutrient Survival sent me that one for free. But I went ahead and ordered 5 more of those so that I can do that for a month straight. And I'm not sure if I'm going to share it with you like on a daily basis or stuff like that. But I think that's a great price. So if you're in the market for those, go check it out because it's a great price right now. I priced it against the full packs, like these guys right here. And it comes out to about the same price that you pay when you buy the big packs, which is a great deal because these are just single servings. So go check those out if you like. I think it's a great deal. And again, make sure that you're here next Friday because next Friday, some people are going to be walking away with some goodies. All right. I'm not going to spill it, but some people will. You can charge your solar with the gas. Yes, you can charge a solar generator. Yes, you can charge a solar generator with a gas generator. Absolutely. It's AC. So yes. Let me see. That's a great question, actually. Bandwidth Piggy says, does a truck count as a gas generator? It does if you have an inverter. So if you have an inverter that you can hook up to your battery, then yes, it does count as a generator. What do we have? Man, we're at 1 hour and 30 minutes. Goodness. Thank you again, Brenda. What does Brenda have to say? The New Madrid fault is more likely to get you or cause tsunamis that can get you than the volcano in Yellowstone. Yeah, anything can happen at any time, really. And that would be just as devastating, I think, not necessarily for the entire world, but definitely for the United States and probably Canada as well. So yeah, that New Madrid, I believe that's pretty much kind of like in the center of the country. Man, if that thing does go, it will be devastating. That's one of the things that I watch out for. I look for keywords usually when I'm searching the internet for news and stuff like that. And one of the things that I look for on a daily basis is I usually go to the Suspicious Observer, all right, which is a YouTube channel, which is great, that studies the sun. They study, cycles of the sun and of the weather and things like that. I go there first because I know that if the sun spews out a CME, a major CME, that it's not going to hit us immediately. And I know that if that happens, more than likely, Suspicious Observer, they're going to be like, hey, we just got a class 9 or something like that, whatever it is. I forget the classes, the X9 or something like that. But he'll be putting that, and I also look out for things like that, because if I hear that the Madrid fault line gave out, ladies and gentlemen, that's my cue and my family's cue to go get as much supplies as we possibly can, go get as much fuel as we possibly can within like a 24 to 36-hour period, because that's usually how long it'll take for people to wake up to what's going on and how it's going to affect us up here. Because a lot of people may say, well, that's down there in the lower 48. They may not be thinking, well, where do you think you get your food from? Where do you think we get our gas from? Gasoline, our diesel. So yeah, that's one of those things that I look out for on a regular basis. Okay, let's see. Oh, you hear that? Thank you, Margot. The Margot 420 says the only gas refinery in Colorado has shut down. So if you live there, fill up now. I'm wondering why. Maybe I'll have to look that up. Hey, hello, Louise. How are you? Good to see you. Happy New Year. Many blessings to you as well. Thank you, Louise. Good to see you here. Akita Love, I love boring. I love boring. Anyone that's been in the military knows that whenever you're on duty or on some kind of a watch, that the more boring it is, the better it is. So more likely I'll be here with my family and I'll probably sleep through the New Year's. I'll probably sleep through it. I usually do. I've lost my taste for like having big parties and stuff like that over the years, ladies and gentlemen. I like quiet. I like simplicity. My favorite thing to do, and I've told my wife this, my wife and I are a little bit opposites, but my favorite thing to do, like for a holiday, I just want my family there. My favorite thing to do is to be able to sit on my couch, right? While my son is here, my daughter-in-law, my grandson, my daughter, my wife, is to be able to sit there and just look at them. Not stare at them, not in a creepy way, but look at them and know that they're here and know that they're safe and know that they're with us, that they're sharing time with us. That, in all honesty, is really my favorite thing to do. Oh, thank you very much, Louise. AP, should I throw away all of the meats that were processed due to high temps in the room that they were stored? And should we start the meats that were okay, so I'm going to give you two scenarios. All right. And I'm going to share something with you that you can take for whatever you want. All right, ladies and gentlemen. But this is what I believe. I've done a little bit of research on this, and I've actually seen some people who actually have done this. So if you have freeze-dried meats, right? And for example, I left a lot of freeze-dried food, a lot of nutrient survival under that tent, and I'm doing an ongoing 10-year experiment, of which we still have 9 years left. I put 10 cans of freeze-dried food under the tent to see how it would be every year after it's done a winter and a summer. And in the summer, even though it doesn't get very hot in Alaska, during the summer months, inside of that tent, it gets up to 100 degrees, right? Because it's a tent, it absorbs that heat. And so last year, when I took out my first can after a year of a full winter and full summer, absolutely nothing wrong with it. I think that freeze-dried foods, like freeze-dried meats you're talking about, if they're properly packaged, that they will sustain low and high temperatures, right? But once you eat them, the how palatable they'll be, I don't know, right? It's not something that I've tested out that long term. As far as pressure can meats, I believe that they'll sustain hotter temperatures as well. But as long as you're rotating it, you should be fine. I think that canned meats, that if they get up to 80, 85 degrees, I think they're going to be just fine for a long time. I'm talking about years. However, the texture, the taste may not be, 100%, but it'll be safe to eat because it won't have anything inside of it. As long as that jar's not compromised, any air going in and out of it. So, but that's just my opinion. It's what I would do if I had to. If for some reason Alaska turns into a tropical place again and we get a heat flash, and my pantry gets up to 80 degrees or 85 degrees, I'm not going to throw that stuff away. I'm still going to go with it. I believe it'll still be good for a very long time. And thank you again, Louise. Hey, Pure Blood Prepper, how you doing? Lots of gold up here. Let me see. Lots of gold up there, Rudy. You should start panning for it. Maybe one of these days I'll go out there just for the fun of it. I've never actually. Well, I have a great story for you all. I went to the coin shop here. This was probably about a month and a half ago, maybe 2 months ago, maybe. I went to the coin shop, and I seen a few gentlemen there dealing and wheeling with Dick in the back of the store. And when they left, Dick showed me what they had just dropped off. And it was like 3 or 4 quart jars of gold that they mined. And I looked at those and I was like, wow, man, that is a lot of gold. What is that? Is that their year's bounty, for the whole year? And he's like, no, they got all of this in like 2 weeks. So they hit a nice little spot where they were making that cash. And he told me that was, I think he said it was over $250,000 of gold in 4 quart jars, ladies and gentlemen. They said that was over $250,000 of gold. So it is out there to be had if you really want, if you know what you're doing and you want to go get it. All right, Gigi, good night. Let's see. Well, it is about time for me to start calling it. Yeah, let me bring it on down. If I missed any of your questions, ladies and gentlemen, forgive me. But I really would like it if Lois, you said you pronounced my name correctly. Thank you. I really would like it that if you're new here, ladies and gentlemen, if this is your first live stream or if you've subscribed to the channel for the last in the last couple of weeks, when we do our outro, when you start listening to the outro, put I am new in all caps so that we can shout you out and you can see your name. But don't do it yet, right? Don't do it just yet. All right. So do that so that we can recognize you and everybody can say hello to you and welcome to our community. And I almost never ask this, ladies and gentlemen, but I think maybe if you've heard this around, but I know this pretty sure to be. YouTube is kind of like, in my opinion, YouTube is kind of like throttling back a lot of channels. And I've heard a lot of other channels talk about it. It's not something that I'm complaining about. But if you watch a video that I put out and you think it's important and you think that somebody that you know or somebody that you love can benefit from it, then share with them if you wouldn't mind. That would really help out a lot because almost every YouTuber out there that I watch, well, not everyone, but a lot of them are saying, man, they've really throttled back, meaning that they're not recommending videos, that you're getting like half of the views that you used to get. And again, I'm not complaining about it, but ladies and gentlemen, I really want the word to get out. People need to be prepared. And whether they think it or not, they really need to be prepared. And it may be that one video that you send someone, that you share with them, that will convince them to start getting prepared and take it seriously. Having said that, listen, thank you very much for joining in today. I truly appreciate it. And thank you so much for this year. It's been awesome spending it with you, ladies and gentlemen, when we do spend the time together. I truly appreciate every single one of you. And I hope that I'm 100% wrong. I hope that all the other prepper channels and people that are warning about how things are coming to be next year and in the years beyond that are 100% wrong, and that everything turns around for the better. However, be prepared. That way, in case it doesn't turn out for the better, you can be prepared to be able to withstand whatever crisis it is that they throw our way. So having said that, again, I want to thank every one of you for being here, for being part of this community. I really do appreciate every one of you. And I hope that you believe me because it is the truth. I appreciate every one of you. And our live streams is the highlights of my week. So thank you very much for joining on the live stream. For those of you that do, especially on a regular basis. All right. Having said that, we will see you all next Friday. And then after that, we will start doing our Friday and Sunday live streams on a regular basis. And remember, try to be here next Friday, because there's going to be some good stuff and some people may win. There's a couple of people that are going to be going away with some stuff on that day who are here on the live stream. Having said that, remember to be good to each other. When good people do good things happen. Remember to reach one, teach one, and repeat. If we all did this, the world would be a better place, and you know that it will be a better place. Many blessings to every one of you and your families. Have a happy new year, and let's hope that next year is a little bit better than this year, but let's be prepared just in case it's not. God bless every one of you, and Happy New Year.